Hello there, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, and welcome back to Team Fortress 2. Today we are going to be taking a look at some pyro gameplay on one of the new maps added in the Tough Break update, and this would be Landfall. Landfall, or aptly named Tree Fort by some people, is a new Capture the Flag map. Now, Capture the Flag might still continue to be my least favorite game mode in Team Fortress 2 ever, but there are a few positive thoughts which I have on Landfall. Ever since Valve began trying new game modes, and by that I mean modified versions of Capture the Flag, those being robot destruction, manpower, and pastime, I'd grown more and more dissatisfied with pretty much every update that had anything to do with these new game modes. Hell, Asteroid, which is the only map currently available for robot destruction, mind you, is still in beta. I've been crazy enough to play on this map a couple of times with mages, and my verdict is that it's beyond repair. It suffers from the same issues that I have with most of the pre-existing CTF maps in the game, so you might as well finish making the monster as it sits there idling away, Valve. Tangent aside, you'd think with all of these imitation game modes which I've mentioned, I'd be far inclined to say that Landfall is just a disappointing map for a game mode which I hold high amounts of animosity towards. And I'm so glad that Landfall has given me the exact opposite reaction. Unlike most Capture the Flag maps in this game, Landfall is comparatively much smaller. It's a much shorter trek for pretty much both teams to reach the enemy team's base. It gives the right team the proper motivation to actually work towards the objective, and that's something which I've rarely ever witnessed whenever I play Capture the Flag. The briefcase areas are placed outdoors. They're much less cramped than other flag rooms, easily accessible to the enemy team when trying to make a push. And yeah, I know, it's directly outside of each team's spawn points, and I'm usually quite opposed to that, but this map's smaller size does compensate for that in my opinion. Death is really only a minor setback when it doesn't take such a lengthy amount of time to reach the other team's base. The center area of this map is also a particular point of interest to me, as it's essentially a series of catwalks affixed to a giant tree, and that is seriously cool. An upside to this area is that it makes for a very good brawling point for anyone who's not actually trying to play the objective, which would usually be me, so I'm glad to see that there's a bit of an option to have some different bits of optional fun rather than just trying to steal glowing briefcase while you're facing off an army of engineers. But the army of engineers seems to be strangely absent from this map. Now I know the amount of engineers guarding a flag is entirely contingent, but during the times where I've actually played here, I've been quite surprised to see that some teams are just willing to complete the objective in the first place, and that usually the amount of engineers is not really crazy. Like, at maximum, you only need about 2 engineers to guard a flag. I mean, class balance is quite important, you see. Now, it could just be, here's a very loose theory, that the nerfs given to more of the popular weapons for engineers, such as the Rescue Ranger and the Jag, are probably what's discouraging a lot of people from playing engineer in the first place. But I'm glad to see that maybe this might just be a sign that people are starting to realize that engineer on Capture the Flag is not fun, and that you really should not have a stupid amount of engineers on any map to begin with. So, yeah, let the good times roll. I've actually been having some fun on this map strictly because there are less engineers actually playing Team Fortress 2 right now. In theory. So, the creators of this map have successfully proven to me that yes, in its own right, Capture the Flag can be fun if the map is properly designed, and made sure to accommodate all classes, and I find so far that I've been seriously enjoying this map quite a lot. It's much less widespread compared to the likes of the most infamous Capture the Flag map, 2 Fort, and also Double Cross, Sawmill, stuff like that. I just think that this is a genuinely good map, and I'm glad to see I've been proven wrong that CTF is just such a hopeless game mode. It's not a hopeless mess. Congratulations to you guys, the creators of Landfall, for having this map added to the game. I truly appreciate what you've done for us. Returning to the subject of imitation CTF game modes, I think there is a lesson to be learned from Landfall's inclusion in the game. The fact that I've been impressed by your average run-of-the-mill Capture the Flag map alone is dramatic irony at its finest. So, excluding robot destruction since it's basically never going to pass its final beta stage, I've deduced that Valve has been trying to live up new imitation CTF game modes as if they were presenting themselves at a dog show of all places. I mean, look at Manpower. I mean, aw, isn't it adorable? It does flips, it rolls over, and it begs for food, and it drops power-ups all over the floor. It's entertaining at first, sure, but even with the idea of grappling hooks, which is a very crazy, zany idea for a feature in Team Fortress 2, I actually kinda sort of like that, but the face of Capture the Flag still showed up. None of the maps had original set pieces or themes, and the fact that this showed up during a time where Snowplow from End of the Line was cancelled, not added to the game originally, that generated some rather harsh feelings from me. And then there's Pastime, which is really trying to impress people by presenting itself as the most dangerous game of American football ever conceived, but I know the drill here. I've come to terms with this map being a reversed Capture the Flag scenario, a completely symmetrical map with two large bases where you need to deliver a ball to the other team's goal. It might as well have been inspired by Capture the Flag. And, well, I haven't been motivated to play it ever since I made a video on it, which is probably not a good quality of mine. I'll probably have to take a look at it at some point, and maybe I'll do a retrospective on it when it finally passes beta. Is it still in beta? I don't know. I should probably go look that up right now. Yes, according to the wiki, Pastime is still in beta. Good. So, what's the lesson learned from Landfall's inclusion in this update? Well, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, there are ways to make a map more interesting. Landfall gives a good example. It's the optimal size for this game mode. It has flag areas which aren't exceedingly difficult to attack or defend. The only turnoff I can really see with it is that the enclosed buildings might not be to everyone's liking. But that's perfectly okay. So, once again, a big congratulations to the map makers of Landfall, or Treefort, whatever you wish to name this map. I think it's genuinely great, I've had a fun time with it, and I will continue to have a fun time with this map. Now, I still have two more maps to take a fully detailed look at, which would be Vanguard and Snowy Coast. I technically did show off a little bit of Vanguard, but we were kind of jammed at the second last point, and I think I could stand to maybe show off the center of the map at some point, so that's gonna get its own video, I feel. Now, Snowy Coast, I technically did record a decent amount of footage for Snowy Coast, but I wasn't fully satisfied with the results. So instead, here's a Snowy Coast clip of me mark gardening a medic who is standing completely still.